going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here. We are back with our player rating show. It is coming back, mostly anticipated.
Exactly. Everyone's been asking, where's your player ratings gone? Well, we're back with the player ratings. I'm actually looking forward to this. I missed it. I missed it in the player ratings. And, we, used to do a big in-depth discussion into the players, and I can't wait to get back into it. So, back in the studio. Let's get right into it.
Lovely studio.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's start with Hugo Lloris. We gave him a 9. Absolutely sensational performance from him. Back to his best, really, in that game. Crucial saves, a penalty save, which we haven't seen in so long from him.
A long time, yeah.
And just match-winning saves, really. He just, really competent performance from Hugo.
And I think it was more just he made a lot of saves as well. A lot of them maybe were easy, but people pointed when we played United about how when we had a lot of shots on goal and they were saying, oh, they're just straight out. They're not. It's not so easy. You got to get your positioning right. The simple things sometimes are difficult, and he had a lot of saves to make. And especially obviously that penalty save was sensational. He made a great save as well from Harvey Barnes, and it was a great performance from Hugo. And he's come under a lot of criticism again this season. We've said that a few times, but he's also come with a number of match-winning performances as well, so you've got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, I think Hugo, like you said, does get a lot of criticism, but when he does play well, it is sensational.
Yeah, and it was interesting his comments earlier in the week saying, after the World Cup he kind of felt empty inside, which probably led to, the whole driving incident, whatever, which is interesting because he has kind of reached the pinnacle. So where do you go from now after you won a World Cup with your country? So he kind of admitted, trying to get the motivation back for Spurs has been a bit difficult, but I think we're seeing Hugo's back to his best now.
Definitely.
All right, Kieran Trippier, we gave him a 4. Quite disappointing display again by Trips, and it's becoming a regular theme now. Even in the smaller games where he used to really dominate that right flank and get assists and be really just all over that right flank. He's struggling now, and the fact is, Leicester's biggest attacking threats came down his side.
They were targeting him big time on that left hand side, and Barnes was getting in behind time and time again. And
he should have scored at least 2.
Yeah,
at least 2.
He was caught out of position so many times, and it's becoming really worrying. I've been going on all season about how I think Trippier needs to be replaced, and I don't see any sort of evidence that goes against what I'm saying.
It's difficult to argue against it. I think in the past you would say his attacking output outweighs his defensive ability or lack of, but it's not really been happening recently. Actually, to be fair though, I saw a stat the other day saying in the Premier League he makes one of the most key passes in the Premier League or something like that. So
it was a very key pass to Eriksen for the goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Very key pass, but or for the short corner. Yeah, that was nice work on the training ground from Trips, but it's just not happening for him at the moment. He keeps getting caught out on in behind. And I think
he nearly scored early on.
Yeah, but we've had a concerted effort. You can see Sissoko's really dropping in and covering for him.
Yeah.
I think that's
I
something
mentioned that to you during the game, didn't I?
Yeah, that's been happening the past few weeks, and that's something clearly Pochettino's looked at as something that he needs to rectify, because Trippier keeps getting caught out in that fullback position. And it was told, wasn't it, when Man United came to Wembley, apparently Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said he was going to target the space behind the fullbacks because that's our biggest weakness. And it looks like teams are catching on to it.
But you mentioned that Hugo said he reached a pinnacle in the summer. Do you reckon Trippier also reached a pinnacle in the summer?
Very effective. Probably after he scored that goal against Croatia, that's it. I'm done for life. Scored in the semi-final.
Simple kid from Burnley, what do you expect?
From Bury.
From Bury, yeah.
Bury Beckham. I don't know. Hopefully he can get back into form, but it's not happening for him at the moment. But the thing is, Poch doesn't seem to want to use Aurier at the moment either. So I don't know where that leaves.
We've got to be in the market for a right back in the summer.
Yeah.
And there's 2 players in the Premiership. I was going on about Ricardo Pereira, and there's also Wan-Bissaka as well.
I've got to say, Pereira had a good game.
I'll take both of them.
He had a good game, Pereira, against us.
He's a good player.
He got an assist, and he was a constant threat down the
right side. I've got him in my fantasy team, and he's getting points every single week.
Yeah, to be fair, he's a nice right back. Maybe he's someone you can look at.
Right, we move on to Davinson Sanchez. We gave him an 8. I've been a big critic of Davinson Sanchez this season, and I think that was a really good performance. His first goal for Tottenham. He was putting in important challenges, important headers all day long, and Damari Gray or whoever else was up front were finding it really hard against him.
Yeah, he had a good game, Davinson. He was commanding. As he said, he got his first goal, a nice header from the cross from Eriksen. I got no complaints. He didn't have, I think, Leicester struggled a bit going forward in terms of they didn't really have a focal point. I think Gray struggled big time, which made it. I think he would have been up for a bigger battle if Vardy was starting, so we're lucky in that sense. But he didn't make any mistakes. I thought any struggles he had was because he was being let down by his fullbacks. But any time the Leicester players were coming in from the side, he was there to mop up. So you've got to give him credit for that.
Brilliant performance.
All right, Jan Vertonghen, we gave him a 7. Pretty standard Jan. Pretty good performance. I thought he was actually better at left back than he was last game.
I mean, we've seen a lot better performances from Jan. It's nowhere near like his best kind of performance, but kind of standard. You know what I mean?
He did give away the penalty.
He did.
But I wasn't so sure if it was a penalty.
You've seen it back? You think it was a penalty?
I've seen it back. Although it was a bit clumsy by Vertonghen, I don't think it was. I think he kind of went to close him down. He didn't really make any real contact. And Madison was looking for it. He went down. Was there contact? Maybe there was a bit, but I don't think it was a foul. Maybe I think it was one of those yes contact, penalty no. I think it was just one of those. Doesn't mean just because there was contact doesn't mean it was a penalty.
I mean, when
he went down weak, it was a weak penalty.
When I saw it like first hand in the ground, I thought it was a penalty. But then when I saw it back, it was harsh. Wasn't
he doesn't really make a challenge.
Yeah,
he doesn't really make one.
Madison was looking for it.
Yeah, and it's definitely So I think Michael Oliver got that wrong.
Like many things that day.
Like many, a hell of a lot of things. But other than that, Vertonghen had a pretty solid game. Again, he was left a bit exposed by his fullbacks, but other than that, he was comfortable because Gray didn't offer much of a threat.
All right, we move on to Danny Rose, one of our form players at the moment.
Yeah.
We gave him a 6.
Wasn't his best performance of note, but still I think it's on the right track. I think he's improving.
I thought it was a game of 2 halves for Danny Rose. So I thought he was brilliant in that first half, and then second half he kind of tired and
he was giving the ball away a lot.
And he was Leicester attackers were getting in behind him a bit in that second half.
And that's where they got their goal from, his side.
Yeah.
1-2 Tielemans and Pereira, 1-2 around him.
Brilliant player, that Tielemans.
Yeah, he looked like a baller. Looked like someone we should probably be going in for. But Rose, I think going forward, I think he's come into form, especially the last few games. I think he's really stepped up in Davis's absence.
Looks like the Rose of old, doesn't it?
He really does. I think it's really good. This game wasn't his best. I think it was telling he was taken off for Walker Peters near the end.
The thing is with Rose, I think, exactly, because he's been through so much the last couple of years, he tires very quickly, Rose. I think it's going to take him time to build up that fitness where he can last 90 minutes.
It'll be difficult because he has to play again against Dortmund on Wednesday, so that's 2 games a week for him. Hopefully he can manage. So it was a decent performance from Rose, but we've seen better. But I think he's still on the right track.
It's positive still.
Yeah, he's still on the right track. Yeah. Oliver
Skippy!
Yeah, we gave him a 5, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He was a bit out of his depth, I felt, in this game. He wasn't awful. I don't think he was like... He just struggled a bit against the power of Ndidi and Tielemans as well.
He got overpowered a bit in that centre mid.
He struggled. He struggled to really stamp his authority on the game. Saying that, you got to give him credit because he kind of was involved in our second goal. He kind of won the... Leicester tried to clear the ball and it hit Skip, who was closing the player down, and it fell to Eriksson, who put the ball away. So you got to give him credit for that. But he really struggled to kind of like any time he was like taking any of them on or even defending, they were just getting past him, and it was difficult for him to really get involved with the game properly. I felt it's a shame.
It's a shame.
But
the signs there are good for Skip because I think, apart from that game, he hasn't really looked out of his depth once he's played for Spurs.
Yeah, and one thing about Skip, he's a confident lad. He likes to get on the ball. He's always asking for the ball.
Yeah. He's always makes himself available.
Exactly. So I think he's got a promising future ahead. But this game just a bit too much for him, I think. Yeah. But go on.
No, I'm just saying he's got a good future ahead of him, Skippy. We've just got to stick by him. 18-year-old kid, so he's got a bright future for Spurs, I think.
All right.
Moving on to Harry Winks. We gave him an 8. I think it was absolutely sensational performance, especially that first half. He was all over the shop. He's always available for the ball, driving forward, passing forward. Which a lot of people would critic Winks, saying like he only passes the ball backwards and sideways. And I saw this stat that he did 86 passes or something like that, and 45 of those were forward passes.
I think he's improving that aspect. I was critical of him. I was critical of him of being more of a sideways passer than really trying to actually affect the game going forward. And I think he's definitely improving in that aspect. And I've got to say as well, if Oliver Skip wants to see what he could become, there's no better player to be next to than Harry Winks, because he can really see. Because Winks was, let's be honest, he was putting in performances similar to Skip in his early days. It wasn't exactly he was setting the Premier League alight when he first broke in the team. And now you can see a run of games Winks has had over a few years. Really, he's grown into his role, and now he's our first. You've got to say he's either our first or maybe second choice centre mid at the moment.
He's got to be our first choice. At the moment.
He's actually he's really come into his own. I'm so proud of how he's performing this season, because we need him to step up big time with our centre mid options. Everyone calling for a new centre mid. Everyone calling for a ball player in the centre park.
We still need it.
We still need it, but Winks has really gone a part of the way to answering the questions that we posed in the summer, because he's been brilliant. I think ever since I know he was injured the first part of the season, but once he's come back from injury, really settled into the season, I think he's been fantastic. Especially last few games, he's really stepped up, especially with the injuries to
exactly.
big
He's
players.
playing week in, week out, and he's putting in performances week in, week out as well.
Yeah, people forget, he's only 22. He's still young. He's got a lot of football he's got a lot to learn, but he's playing so well at the moment, and you've got to give him credit. I think he's going to be a fixture in our centre mid for a long time.
He's playing the best football of his career at the moment. That is 100% certain. And I remember when you think back to just over a year ago, when he was putting in like these great performances in centre mid for us. We went to Arsenal away and we were banging on in our combined 11, saying how Winks is 100% in there. Winks is one of our best centre mids, and then he kind of went off the wheels a bit.
He got injured, didn't he?
He got injured. But these performances are so much better than those performances back in last season.
They are. He's improved. I think he's getting more confident on the ball. He's stamping his authority more. He's starting to control the game a bit.
And drives as well.
Yeah, and he's really starting to show off his passing range. He used to just do little sideways passes, but he's now starting to do penetrative passes. He's starting to do a bit more dribbling as well, which I like. Getting forward dribbling, a bit more driving, getting in the box a bit more. So it's all positive from Harry Winks, and I thought another positive display by him.
There was that one drive that came to mind in the first half where he beat about 3, maybe it was even 4 players.
Yeah, he flicked it over someone's head. He was good, and he played a nice little forward pass. He's really getting a lot more confident. It's really good to see. Good for us and England, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Move on to Moussa Sissoko. It's not even news anymore. We give him an A. I don't know what he's become. He's become such a regular performer now for us. I don't know how Pochettino's done it, but it's not even like we barely even mention him anymore in terms of like outstanding performers, because every week he's putting in 8 out of 10s. Let's be honest, he's playing so well. And yesterday was no different.
That assist for Sonny.
Oh, that was underrated. I don't know if he saw it, but it was if he did see it, it's a fantastic pass, a clearance pass by Sissoko into Son. But also his driving runs are so hard to stop because he's such a powerful runner. It's hard for players to keep up with him with his strength and his pace. And I think
he's a complete tank as well. You know, he can go all day, all night long. He's exactly what Pochettino kind of looks for in a player. Doesn't stop running. He's got that physique and he's got quality as well.
Yeah, I think he's starting to improve a lot on the ball. I know his first touch still has a lot to be desired, but I think he's starting to, make a positive impact, not just in destroying teams' attacks, but also contributing on the ball with his driving runs. Exactly, building attacks, and obviously he probably needs to improve his shooting a bit more. As we've seen that, and I know a few other couple went flying over the bar, but I'm so impressed with Sissoko. He's really come on leaps and bounds, and we needed him because if imagine Sissoko wasn't playing as well as he is right now, we would be absolutely screwed. So thank God that Pochettino's got Sissoko playing, because it's such a delight to see.
100%. Keep going, Musa. We love you. Moving on to Christian Eriksen, we gave him an 8. Much better performance from him this game. I was kind of saying the past 3 weeks or so he hasn't been at it, and I was kind of thinking maybe something else is on his mind. Don't want to talk too much about that. Yeah. But this performance was brilliant. Scored a goal, made an assist. What more can I say about Christian Eriksen? He was always available for the ball, looking in those little pockets of space, running his socks off like he always does, and complete performance from him, I thought.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on him and Son, I feel, when there's no Dele, there's no Kane. Yeah. People also forget there was no Lucas and no Lamella as well, so that's another 2 attackers who weren't playing yesterday. So a lot of pressure was on Son and Eriksen Llorente to kind of supply that firepower. And if you're being honest, in terms of an attacking cohesive unit, we weren't really much yesterday. We really needed those bits of quality to win us the game. And that's exactly what Eriksen provided. That cross for Sanchez's header was absolutely beauty, right on his head. I think those balls that he does are very underrated. People give him a lot of slack for not being the first man, for always kind of not getting enough hype. But the amount of times we get goals or we create chances from those balls that would get whipped into the front post is clearly a plan that we've set up. and it's clearly something that works quite a bit because we get more goals from set pieces than people think.
It's not even the set pieces. When Eriksen crosses the ball from that particular
Position.
spot, like just outside, well, just
left
to the
or
left,
right.
yeah, exactly, either side of the box, you know.
Yeah, whipping in. He's
Pinpoint.
lethal.
I remember twice against Chelsea when Dele Alli scored those headers. Were both kind of from those ranges as well.
Yeah, he's lethal from that.
Time
position.
and time again. I don't think there's a better player in the world that can do that from those kind of ranges.
Yeah, he can just get a picture. He's done it countless of times for Ali. Think about Newcastle as well, beginning of the season, also last season.
Yeah.
Like he's so deadly from that kind of position. So, I mean, also his goal. What can we say? Another outside the box pile driver from Christian Eriksen, dipping shot from 25
and
yards.
As soon as it leaves his boot, you know exactly where it's going.
And also, beating Kasper Schmeichel, his national compatriot, in the goal, who will probably, he knows Eriksen's tricks and he still couldn't stop him. So we needed those, really needed those bits of quality from Christian. He provided it, and if it wasn't for those bits of quality, we would not have won this game 100% because we were not looking like scoring. So thank God we had Eriksen on the pitch.
And the one thing is like, if he doesn't sign this contract, I don't know where that leaves us this summer because,
James Maddison. What do you think of Anderson's audition as a potential Eriksen replacement?
I mean, I like Maddison. I think he's a good player, but to say he's going to come in straight away and replace Christian Eriksen, it's a bit far-fetched, isn't it?
Completely. No one. To be honest, who could? Isco, maybe.
That's what I'm saying. If Eriksen was to go to Real Madrid, we got to take an Isco or James Rodriguez off them.
200 million plus Isco?
I'll take it.
Isco's
in a bit of a fight with Real Madrid at the moment because he's played the least amount of anyone in the squad since this new manager's come in.
So, you know what?
There'll be many more suitors than us.
That'll be the best of a bad situation. Yeah, we got Eriksen, we got all the cards. So, well, anyway, hopefully that way won't come to that. We need Eriksen to stay.
Yeah, sign on the dotted line, Christian.
Please, it's doing all our heads in. We need you to sign Christian.
But it is a still having him on, like, what is he on, 60, 70 grand a week?
It's a joke. It's more than a steal. It's daylight robbery.
It is. It's more than daylight robbery.
Jesus, it's basically having him for free. But anyway, moving on to Heung-min Son. We gave him a 6 out of 10. 3 goals now in consecutive games. Another goal for him. Wasn't his best performance. It's pretty obvious, I think. Most of the game he didn't have too much of an impact. I think Leicester shackled him pretty well. There's a lot, as I said before, with Eriksen, there was a lot of pressure on him because we needed those individual moments because as an attacking cohesive unit, we just weren't there.
The thing is with Heung-min Son is like, what a great player we have in our hands because we give him a 6 out of 10, but still scores a great goal, and he should have had a penalty as well.
He should have had a penalty. Yeah, he got booked for a diving, which was ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Clearly gets clipped by
Michael Oliver needs to have a hard look at himself, man.
Yeah,
after that game.
awful decision. But yeah, I think his goal as well is underrated. How difficult that is, running inside his own half.
Roadrunner.
Yeah, exactly. In the 90th minute, when Son's probably knackered, he's running the length of the pitch, keeping ahead of Johnny Evans and whoever else was running back, and slotting it home with composure as well on his left foot, which left foot, right foot doesn't matter to Heung-min Son. He's two-footed. So
left foot, right foot, as he scores.
There you go. So Son, you got to give him credit for that. But as we said before, wasn't his best game. Didn't really get too involved during the game. Really, he was pretty anonymous, which was a shame. But when he
got to give credit to the Leicester fullbacks for that though. Yeah, I think both of them are very good players.
I think he was playing more up front than he was. He was trying to be partner of Llorente. It just didn't quite work out for him. I think. Luckily for us, we had Eriksen coming up with the individual quality to win us the game. But Son, hopefully he'll be fresh for Dortmund on Wednesday because we're going to need him in that game.
Fair enough. We move on to Fernando Llorente. We gave him a 5. To be fair, I thought Fernando started the game really well. He was winning a lot of headers and linking up the play really nicely in the first 20 minutes. But I think Maguire got the upper hand on him for the rest of the game. Slabhead. Llorente didn't really win much after that 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think once Maguire started to dominate, it was hard for Llorente. I think he had some nice hold-up moments. He was a nice link of play, but him starting, I like Llorente. I like what he brings. I just don't feel like he's so suited to our team. I think he is better coming off the bench than he is starting. That's for sure. I think him as one of because if you think about how we set up yesterday, we literally had 3 attacking players on the pitch. We had Eriksen, Son, and Llorente. Those are the only 3. Other players are them kind of box to box or they're defenders. And having Llorente as one of the 3 players trying to provide the firepower. he's just not mobile enough. It just wasn't. Unless you're playing against a team like Newcastle or one of the lower teams who are going to come and sit back 11 men behind the ball, then maybe he's more valuable to have. But in a game like this, Leicester, got to give them credit. They played a high line. They came to attack. They came to play football, and they made it hard for us. And Llorente struggled really with that high line. He couldn't really break through. He didn't really have too many opportunities to get in the box and try and win headers. But saying that, he got an assist for the second goal.
Again.
Yeah, a nice assist for Eriksen, and maybe a bit of an easy pass, but he's still got a quick thinking, play into Eriksen who got the shot off. So fair play to him on that. So not too much criticism, but you just feel like when he starts in these kind of games, it just didn't quite work.
Seeing Jamie Vardy was on the bench for Leicester, would you take him at Spurs?
Of course, he would be a fantastic second choice to Kane, no doubt about it. I don't know if Vardy at 32 he'd be willing to come and sit on the bench. Maybe he would. Maybe he sees his time at Leicester being over, but I still think he probably sees himself as a number one striker for the time being.
How many more years does he as a number one striker? One, maybe?
Yeah, but then when he's not a number one striker, would he be any good to us? You know what I mean? That's the difficulty
the pace is
we
still
have.
There though with Vardy.
Now it is.
Yeah.
In a year's time, in 2 years' time, how many more WKDs can he take before he starts slowing down? You know what I mean?
But I tell you what, I like the look of Leicester's squad, and there's many players in that squad I would take. I would take Chilwell. I would take Pereira. Might even take Ndidi off them.
Maybe Tielemans.
Tielemans, you know what I mean?
Maybe Maguire for the one choice.
They got some quality players.
They do,
there.
and it was very interesting to see what Peter Schmeichel was saying after the game.
What did he say?
He said, Leicester have a great squad and a great set of players, but they just don't have a manager who can get the best out of them, and that's coming from Kasper Schmeichel's dad. So where do you think he gets that from?
That's a bit unfair, though. Do you not think? I think Puel's been treated a bit unfairly.
I agree with you. Well, what else do they expect to be? They're like 12th. They'll probably end up between 12th and 8th, somewhere like that. That's probably where they can't really expect any more.
Their ceiling is probably 7th or 8th.
And think about the job he did at Southampton, which he got sacked for. In the season he got sacked, he finished 8th, and he got to a League Cup final when he got sacked. Now look at Southampton.
Yeah.
Now look at them. They're struggling for relegation, even last season. So maybe people be careful what they wish for. You know what I mean with Puel, because I think he's done a pretty decent job. Who was subs who make? Toby came on for a bit.
Yeah, Toby came on.
Somehow we looked even more defensively open when Toby came on. I'm not sure how that happened.
came on.
Nothing much of note there. But the thing is, Toby came on to shore up the defence, and we conceded after he came on, and we actually were even more under the cosh when he came on. And I remember must have been at least 2 or 3 times. He had the ball, he had time, and he played it straight out of play. It was very strange by Toby, but
it wasn't the Toby ping that we used to see.
No, it wasn't the Toby ping, but hopefully he'll be all right for Wednesday. He probably will come back in. I'm not sure if we'll play back 3 or not on Wednesday.
I think we're going to play back 4 on Wednesday.
Back 4.
I think it's been going to be Jan, Toby at the back.
I got a feeling Aurier will play.
Rose and Aurier, yeah.
I got a feeling Aurier will play. It has to be Winston Sissoko. Then it has to be, I don't know if Lamella's going to be back, but Lucas will come in, Son, Eriksen.
There's a rumour Kane going to be on the bench.
Really? That'll be a bit of a psychological effect.
Psychological warfare,
exactly.
That's what I mean.
What do you give Pochettino for the win against Leicester?
I don't think there's much he could have done about that lineup. I think we're down to our...
The only thing he could have done is maybe start Lucas. Really.
Yeah, but even so, I don't think Lucas's performance warrant a start, to be fair.
Yeah,
his last couple of games.
Fair enough.
I think lineup was pretty much spot on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe would have started Skip on the bench.
On one side, Wanyama?
Potentially Wanyama or someone. But, Skip needs games, so it's good to have the minutes. So I guess it's the right lineup.
Yeah.
Changes.
Was that formation again 4-3-1-2?
Yeah, I don't think that was the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem is not having that steal in the centre of the park. That's why we're giving away so many chances. So maybe Wanyama could have been the option in the middle.
I think I'll give Pochettino a 7. I think he did okay to manage this game. I think obviously we won the game 3-1, even though we probably didn't deserve to. Leicester created a whole host of chances.
The game could have gone so differently. We were under the cosh so much at 2-1, even at 1-0.
Even at 1-0 when they missed that penalty.
Even at 1-0. The whole of the second half, to be fair, and when Sonny gets that goal in the 90th minute, all of us have just exactly big sigh of relief. Because we all knew what was coming.
Yeah, I think if Sonny doesn't get that goal, they could easily go on to draw to get a draw there, because they were coming wave after wave and they're actually creating chances. It wasn't just like they were going out for corners or whatever. They were actually getting shots on goal, and I think the game definitely turned once Vardy missed that penalty and we scored the second. I think that thankfully won us the game, because if Vardy scores that goal, I actually don't think we're going to win the game.
But even so, you say the game changed, but I still think...
I mean, it swung. That's what swung it in our favour, that those 5 minutes.
I still think, though, that after that, Leicester was still on top.
They were
still peppering us. Even at 2-0, they could have got back in the game.
They did get back in the game.
They could have got level.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I think that those 5 minutes won us the game. Saving the penalty and then scoring 5 minutes later it can't stress how massive that is in the context of a football match. And to go from 1-1 to 2-0, it obviously gives Leicester so much more to do. And I think you know what? I'm just going to say we got lucky. We got lucky in this game. I know we had two real moments of quality, which led to goals. Leicester, thank God, were very, very wasteful in their attack. Harvey Barnes I thought actually had a very good game. I was very impressed with him on the left hand side. He got in. They exploited the space in behind our fullbacks, and we were lucky to come away with this victory. But
we've been saying that a lot in the last couple of weeks.
You know what? We've been saying that a lot all season, to be honest. Even the beginning of the season, where we were winning all those games 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, where everyone was saying, "Yeah, we're lucky." So how lucky can you get before you actually start saying, actually, this team has something about them. This team has character. This team has belief that they can keep going and keep winning games. And it bodes well for when our big players come back and we actually have players to attack with. That we're going to go on a good run, because if we keep picking up performances while we're playing how we are, it's only a good sign.
It's only been that small pocket of games where you can actually say that we've been at full flight this season.
Yeah,
it was probably from that Chelsea game till the end of the year kind of thing, when we battered Everton, and who else was it?
I'd even put United performance in that category, because we played well that game. I think that's probably the last game we played well. Coincidentally, it's the last game we had Eriksen, Dele, Son and Kane all together.
You're talking about the United game when we lost?
Yeah. I thought we played well that game. We should have won.
Second half, yes. First half, I don't think we were at it.
Yeah, but
I'm
we
talking
a lot
about
of
complete performances. Against Chelsea, we battered them for 90 minutes. Against Everton, a 6-2. And who was the other game around
Bournemouth 5-0.
Exactly, Bournemouth 5-0.
Yeah. I'm saying I would say in terms of performances, I think I'd include that United.
The second
game.
half, but I wouldn't say for 90 minutes.
I would include that in that little clump of performances that we were playing well in. And then ever since then, Son went away, Kane's got injured, Dele's been injured. We haven't really got back on it in terms of performances straight as of yet since that game. But hopefully, Kane and Dele on the road to recovery will get it back. But I think it shows how important those players are to our attacking unit.
But it was before we played Chelsea, we had the first half of our injury crisis.
Yeah, now
we got all the players back and we started battering teams, and then it all just happened again.
Yeah, but at least we're still winning.
Worse.
Yeah, it is worse. But at least we're still winning, which is all down to Pochettino.
Got to give credit to him.
All down to Pochettino. If it wasn't for him, I don't know where it would be this season, because he's literally pulled. I don't know how he's pulled so many rabbits out of the hat this season. Even just just qualifying for the Champions League. I don't know how he did that. To be 5 points behind Liverpool with 12 games to go. I don't know how he's done that with the injury crisis we've had, with no pre-season, with no stadium, all these issues building up together
through to the semi-finals of the World Cup.
It would be so easy for us to just fold and even drop out the top four, and not even challenge the season, and just have a season saying, oh well, we have all these excuses to bring up and say this happened. But no, we're still there, we're still fighting. I know we're out both domestic competition, which is a shame, but I'd rather be where we are right now in these competitions, to be honest. So all the credit goes down to Pochettino, what he's doing. I know it's a big ask to win the title. No one's here really expecting us to win the title, but you know what? We're there. That's all you can ask for. All you can ask for is us to be challenging and to actually be within a shout. So you can't ask for too much more this season. Yeah. And that's where we are.
And a lot of fans are calling out for Spurs to dip into the transfer market and spend a lot of money in this and that. All you got to do is look at a team like Chelsea. They spent bloody 75 million on a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
They've just lost 4-0 and 6-0 on the trot.
How much they spent on Morata? 70 million.
Exactly.
He didn't exactly.
No, money does not guarantee success. No. Let's be honest. You got to find the right.
We're not. Yeah.
You got to find the right players, like Poch keeps saying.
Yeah. we're not saying that we wouldn't want Spurs to buy. Of course
I want to sign Tielemans.
Even Poch says he wants to buy, but I agree. I'm starting to come around to the idea that, not come around, but it's obvious. You can't just buy willy-nilly and then expect the squad to be as harmonious as it always is. And the fact of the matter is, I've stated this, when we don't have this bloody massive long injury list, our squad's fairly deep. It's actually not too bad. And it's just when
it just needs upgrades in a few areas. You know, obviously Dembele left, so
fullback area and centre mid we need upgrades. Other than that, we are pretty strong. All right, Dortmund preview will be out tomorrow.
Yep, Dortmund FIFA preview out tomorrow with our predicted lineup and our famous win on FIFA.
Yeah, we'll see. We've done a very good record on FIFA, but we'll try our best. But yeah, like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know what you thought of the player ratings and let us know what you thought of the games in general. And as always, come on, you Spurs.